Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Spirit Bubble with
Hello, hello.
Kara.
And Alma, hello.
Hey, we wanted to update for you guys so bad like a few days ago, but my audio was being a little stinker and it just would not have made sense for words to not match up with the audio, and I just didn't want to present that.
Yeah, so it just didn't work out, but here we are tonight, so yay.
Today's topic is a little bit of a tongue twister to first stay. Um, but okay, Alma, you say it.
All right, being a support for somebody who can't support themselves.
Yes, I have no idea why I cannot say that very well right now. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
That is what we are discussing today, because I know that a lot of times we get into situations where we get into relationships with people, communications, where one side just can't necessarily be understood by the other, and yet somehow there's always this draw to each other.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. A
Yeah,
connection, right?
right. It's almost like you have one person who's the student and one who's the mentor. Somebody has something to teach the other one, and it's not always that easy when, like you said, you can't be the person that that person needs, you know?
Yes, that's you hit the nail on the head. You can't always be the person that somebody needs you to be. I know that role very well, being with that bipolar nature,
Mm-hmm.
I can't always be in control of myself. So I understand that role of not always being able to live up to the expectations of what other people need me to be. So I come to the table being the one that needs somebody to support me, right?
Yeah.
So, so I get to live that side of
Oh my
it.
goodness. Does that ever create like any kind of sense of hopelessness or anything in you? Like how is it, like, what are your thoughts in your mind when you know that you're being that person and it's difficult to change it?
It's interesting that you say that because, the bipolar mania side doesn't recognize that it's unwell. Like it fights, it thinks it's fine. So even though I can't really take care of myself, I can't admit that I can't take care of myself. Right?
Really?
Yeah. So that there's no hopelessness at the fact that I can't take care of myself. There aren't those negative feelings
Huh.
because, you know, that that mania almost fights admitting that there's that sense of hopelessness or that need for
Yeah.
hopelessness, I should
It's
say.
totally
Because
eliminates that.
yeah, and that's actually one of the things that we had to fight through, coming to grips with my husband
Mhm.
because, you know, in him trying to support me not being able to admit that I was unwell, that was a big problem, right? Because how can he help me if I'm not able to admit that I'm unwell, right?
Right. Right. Oh,
So,
okay. What about like when you come out of that mania? Like, let's say you've had an episode, right? But then you come out of that mania. Do you come into like to a realization? Do you look back to what happened? Like, what's going on afterwards when you recover from that?
oh, absolutely. Afterwards, there's always that realization like, oh my gosh, this is what I've done. This is what I've come to I come to grips with what I've gone
Mm-hmm.
through, right? And it's whether it's guilt, sadness, depression, there's always heavy emotions that come with whatever, mania has brought, so um it's it's not always the easiest because it's like it's kind of like a backlash. You go
Mm-hmm.
through the mania makes you act out, And then when you come out of the mania, then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't
Oh
believe I did
no.
that.
Oh
And you,
no.
because you come back to your sense of self and you have to come to grips with what you've done, even though you weren't yourself while you were doing it,
Yeah.
you have to, come to grips that you still did it, right?
Yeah. But you've kind of figured out how to be able to differentiate the reality versus the mania.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm very lucky. Talking with doctors and everything, apparently it's not very common that people can differentiate between their mania and themselves. So I'm very blessed to be able
Oh.
to recognize that I have the manic side of me and have insight
Yeah.
into when I'm manic and, how that affects me. So
Yeah.
thank goodness.
And it's kind of a very positive outlook here on this right here. It's almost as if you have been given this as a way to be able to experience and thus be able to discuss that in a level-headed way, so that way people can understand what's going on.
Oh, yes, I definitely think so. Like, I think I'm an advocate for mental health people because I come at it with a way to be able to articulate so well what's going on this side of things. Like, I am a mental health patient,
Uh-huh.
but I have insight and awareness that a lot of mental health patients don't always have. My one doctor said, I'm both a mental health patient and like a doctor that's treating themselves at the same time. So I get both like the insight and
Huh.
the awareness at the same time. And so it's an interesting perspective to have, I guess.
Oh, okay. That's why I say, in a sense, it's almost, even though it seems like it sounds like it's a burden, it's almost as if it's a gift to the world.
Oh,
Because,
I oh, go ahead, go ahead.
oh yeah, I was gonna say, without people like you who can handle these kind of struggles and get over those hurdles and be able to explain exactly how and bring an understanding of the recovery process, like how would we ever recover from something like that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Like, yeah, I definitely do feel like it's a gift. Like, and when I was in the worst of it, it wasn't a gift. It felt like a curse. And, and it's a burden for sure, but there's a lot of blessing in what I'm going through and what I've
Yeah.
been through and what I'm able to share with others now that I've been through it. So you're right. It's a gift I feel that I can share with the world. And like I was talking with my husband on stream tonight, about mental health and the journey that we've both been through,
Mm-hmm.
both with me as the mental health patient and
Yeah.
him as the support for me.
Uh,
And, you know, it it's we together have been through something and we get to see both sides of it, you know
oh.
and it's really cool because I can't always see his side of things because I'm on my side of it, but
Mm-hmm.
together we get that complete package.
It's almost like the negative and positive end of a battery.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, or the
You
yin
don't
and the
have
yang,
you don't
right?
have the whole battery without both. You don't have the whole yin yang without, both going around each other,
Exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very interesting. Because I know I haven't really necessarily struggled with anything like that. And guys, I know that you see us twinning like all the time, right? But this is actually one of the things where we balance each other out in the opposite way. Is that, like, well, maybe Alma has been on this end as the person who can't be the person that somebody needs, but on the other end of the spectrum, in my experiences, in my journey, I have been the person who needed to stand by that person. If that makes any sense. I know it's a little bit of a tongue twister.
You
Um,
you were you were the opposite of what I am. You were the support, right?
yeah,
You were the carrying person. You
right,
carried people that couldn't support themselves.
right. And like I have a little spiritual life student, I guess my little Padawan, you know, and from looking back to where we started, it just seemed like nobody was really in a mindset or a determination to stay by their side. And it was really interesting, like, when I looked at this person, yes, there was that outside exterior where it was like really rough and just really struggling, and it just seemed like it was the kind of person you didn't want to be around for long, you know. But deep down inside, I could see that there was just this beautiful soul that was just engulfed in that troubling fog. Like, I knew that this person, that wasn't what who this person was. I knew that there was something golden deep down inside. And the one thing that I knew that it was going to take was a consistency of a consistent support, because of the fact of how many people had come forth and then left because they didn't like what they saw, you know?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I knew that this person really needed someone who was going to be consistently there, consistently supportive through every episode that happened. And that in itself is also a challenge, too, because, you know, you see this person behaving in a way that you know is not compatible to a successful future or compatible to who you know they are. And it can be exhausting, you know. And I'm sure you probably find it exhausting on your end too, you know, going through this kind of thing, you know?
Oh yeah, being that
Yeah.
person, being the
Yeah.
exhausting person. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Because you're pushing everybody away and
Mm-hmm.
it's it's hard being that person.
Right.
But sometimes you're not always in the place to recognize that you're being so horrible, right?
Right.
You know?
Right. It
And
can be
that's
exhausting being the support, you know, because you're putting out all this energy and you're trying to stay put where other people would have run away, and it can drain you of like your own focus on yourself. And then when you can no longer really focus on yourself as much as you'd like to, you know, it just almost feels like you're taking from your self-care, and instead you're putting it all to this person. And you want to ask, is this worth it, you know? When it's taking so much more time than you expected it to, you want to ask yourself, is this worth it, staying here and trying to help this person, her, him, you know? And it's a lot of determination, and it takes a really huge heart to see through that moment in order to be like, okay, well, this is going to take time. It's not, you know, maybe not everything is going the way that I want it to, in the way that like I'm trying to explain it to make them, you know, see clear, but I guess I'm just going to stick it through.
and that what moves me the most is it's not just one moment of commitment. It's moment after moment after moment of commitment because it's not just one moment of misbehavior. It's constant misbehavior and hardship and trial and, putting you to the test.
Yeah.
And, and even through all those difficulties, you're making the decision to stay and to be there and be that support person. And
Yeah.
that is just remarkable because like not everybody can be that for those people. Like I told you I was in the bipolar server talking
Mhm.
to somebody and I was talking about my husband and how he was there for me, in my worst moments. and
Mm-hmm.
and the person I was talking to was like, oh, he's an angel.
Oh.
The people that understand us and are there for us in crisis, we understand them to be something special, because like we can't support ourselves, and like to come through to be something for somebody that can't take care of themselves, to be there and to put yourself through that is
Yeah.
something special. Like you are just amazing, and like thank you for being that for somebody that can't be that for themselves, right?
Right. And look at where you are now. All these years that you have been struggling with this, and he has stayed with you. And look at where you're at now, you know?
Oh my gosh, yes. And that's the blessing that we get. Like I think we both get to live the blessing that he gets the blessing of having his wife return to him, right? Like
Mhm.
we both made choices. He made the choice to stand beside me when I wasn't my best. I made the choice to get well. And those choices together brought us to where we are, and we're living the blessing of being happy together now in the stability and wellness that we're living. So
Yeah.
yay.
And for us, it's like the reward is seeing you guys being able to thrive. Because looking back to who you were before and looking at who you are now and seeing how much more you've blossomed, it's like this really heartwarming feeling in your chest that says, you know what? Wow, I helped someone out of their worst times, and now they can go out and they can be themselves, and they can just just thrive and share in that positive energy that like was just so buried before. That's the
Right?
reward.
Yes, absolutely. You deserve to feel good about your part in that, because, like, without you, where would they be? So,
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely. Feel good about that.
Yeah. It's like the capability is there. Like your capability to be your best person is there. Their capability to be their best person was always there. It was always there. It was just so buried underneath so much rubble that, like, someone needed to take it off of them so they could stand on their own.
Yep, they just needed somebody to unbury them,
Mm-hmm.
and just needed a little help shoveling the crap off.
Yeah, and look at that. Now you're just this golden soul.
Right? Yes, now we get to shine.
Yes. And I'm so proud of where my student is now. Sometimes I feel like student is not the right word, but I don't know what else to say.
Right. It's
Right.
hard, but student is a good word for it.
Yeah.
Mentor or mentee, right? It's
Something
hard to
like that.
say. Yeah.
But looking at where they're at now, and they're flourishing so much, and there's so much more out in the world now that, like, knowing that I could be somebody to bring them out and watching them just bloom in their own life now, and be them their true selves, their true, capable, beautiful souls now, it's such a good thing to know that you were able to do that.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So after so many experiences, and it's just they've branched out so far and just really found their ability to truly shine, and I'm just so proud of that.
Oh, well, congratulations on doing such a good job being there for somebody that really needed, that support and that caring and that commitment from somebody else.
Yeah. And of course, struggles never go away completely. You know that old habits, old things come back. Even with myself, I have flaws that try to come back, and I have to try to stay that way and be like, okay, look. I know I'm better than this. I've done better than this. We got to keep on trying, you know? And it's just having that support, you know?
Yeah. Yep. That's it is. It's having that support to learn to overcome those things that we need to overcome, right?
Yeah.
And just keep relearning those bad habits and keep overcoming, right?
Yeah.
Fighting the good
And
fight.
and it makes you stronger every single time.
Yes, it really does.
Yeah, definitely. It is worth the time. You know, if you see somebody that you know has so much ability with them, you know, if you've got the patience to stay through those episodes, you know, it's worth it to see them shine at the end because where would you be? You know, and even then, you learn from it too. You learn patience. You learn even more love, and
Oh yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Just from my perspective of what I've learned going through it, being that needing support person,
mm-hmm.
I can well, I can see how watching somebody go through that and experience their journey would be so fulfilling, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
see them come full circle and just get to the end of their journey would be like, yes, they've done it.
Yes. Yes, like here's your running shoes. Let's do it.
Yes, let's get going.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, it's two different perspectives, you know, and I'm sure that they're each rewarding in their own, you know. You get to learn how to break free from that self that you know pulls you down. And then, like, we get to relish in just watching you thrive, you know?
Right, two different sides. One is like the noble, mature side, and one is the young, youthful side.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But it's I just thought it was just very interesting too that we are on the opposite of that. You know, even though we both have a understanding, we can both see the other view now that we have both crossed in the, you know?
Right, right. We can see both sides of it, but it's interesting. Even though we usually twin on the same side of things, we're on different sides of it this time.
I know, it's so fascinating. It's just we always twin, and it's just so interesting how this one role, you know, we can still kind of come together on.
Yep, yep. I love it.
Yeah. If you guys have any success stories and where you recovered from something because somebody relentlessly stayed by your side through the dark, or if you were able to pull somebody up, we'd love to hear your success stories too. You know.
Absolutely. Just leave a comment, tell us your story. Maybe we can start a conversation. And
Absolutely. Yeah,
oh,
and we can all celebrate together.
absolutely. We would love to celebrate your achievements, your trials, anything you've been through. Just let us know and let us share in your everything you've been through.
Yes. So until then, we thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening to each of our own unique sides, and we hope that you were able to gain some strength and some courage that helps you on whichever side you're on it. You know, hopefully that gives you a little bit more strength and energy to carry on because you know what? It's possible. People do recover, people do pull out, and you can do it. You can be there for them through it.
Absolutely.
So until then, thank you so much for listening, and you'll have a great day or great
Have
night.
a good whatever side of the day you're on. Bye-bye.
Yes! Bye!